if you continue to do an incomplete process, right? If you continue to not share with them your service, the fee, and ask them if they want to move forward, you will struggle in your business. Well, welcome back to Empowered. Oh my gosh, this is episode 10 of the 12-part series, 12-part podcast series, Empowered. So I'm so excited that you're back with me today. And I'm just going to hop into it. Now, hopefully, I know one of the things that we've been talking about through this entire podcast series is taking time to really, regulate your nervous system, right? Through your deep breathing. We won't do any deep breathing today, but I just want to remind you of it. And then also about the importance of really speaking life over yourself, over your business, right? In the form of affirmations and that type of thing. So again, we won't do it today, but I promise you we'll get them in the next, we have 2 more episodes left of this particular podcast series. So we'll get them in on the last 2. I just want to remind you of them so you haven't forgotten and it hasn't fallen off of your radar. But today, what I want to share with you is something that's been coming up. It's been coming up in conversation. It actually showed up even yesterday when I was at the grocery store, a prime example of it. So I'm going to share that with you in just a second. And really, it's around, oftentimes we think, for those of you who are already in business, you might think, oh my gosh, I have a sales problem. But you likely don't have a sales problem. You probably have an asking problem. So I'm going to share with you what I mean by that. So first, let me tell you about what happened at the grocery store. And if y'all know me, y'all even know that I don't even like going to the grocery store, but I had to go to the grocery store. And when I do go to the grocery store, typically it's like first thing in the morning or like last thing right before they close because just a whole lot of people. It's like not my thing. But yesterday, I happened to go to the grocery store. It was like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So of course everybody was out, and which meant I had to park way in the back of the parking lot, really a far away parking spot. No problem. I park my car. I get out, and when I get out, remember I'm kind of far in the parking lot. So what I noticed is that there were several other people who got out of their car around the same time I did. One was a couple, and they were the closest to the entry of the grocery store. One was a family of 4, and they were relatively close, together. And then there was me, and I was quite a ways behind all of them because I was in the back of the parking lot. And so I noticed there's this little kid, and this never happens. And I've never seen it happen at the grocery store that I frequent. But there was this little kid, probably about 10, if I had to guess, and he had this box or basket, if you will, of stuff. It was snacks in there. It was bottles of water in there. There were little juice boxes in there. And so I just happened to notice him because he was standing off to the side. If you can imagine, we're in the aisle, we're in the parking lot. There's cars on the left and right, right? And he's kind of standing off to the side. So, but he's just standing there. And I noticed he let the couple walk past him. He didn't say anything. And then I noticed a few seconds later, he lets the family of 4 walk past him as well. And I thought, well, maybe he's off. Maybe he's finished for the day. But I noticed he had this basket full of stuff. So I'm thinking, well, maybe he's taking a break. I don't know. But what I do know is that he has a whole lot of products of stuff to sell. And so I was like, I wonder if he's going to say anything to me. So I'm walking past, and at this point, he's now starting to walk across the lane, right? So he's crossing. We're about to cross paths. Before he was just kind of standing there, letting people like walk past. And so as he's walking past my path, I said, hey, what you got there? Hey, what you got there, little fella? Because like I said, he was like 10, 12, maybe. I don't even think 12. He was probably 10. And I said, hey, what you got there? And he said, oh, I just got some snacks and some drinks and some waters. I said, oh, okay. I said, are you selling them? And he said, yes, ma'am. I said, oh, okay. I said, you see those people that walked past you just a second ago? And he kind of looked back and he said, I saw them. And I said, did you ask them to buy anything? And he said, no, they didn't look like they wanted anything. And I was like, what? How does someone not look like they want anything? And so anyway, I said, oh, I said, well, are you trying to sell this stuff? And he said, yes. He said, yes, ma'am. And I said, well, I said, people can't give you money if they don't know that you're selling something. I said, if you don't tell them what you're selling, if you don't ask them if they want to buy anything, I said, they're not going to just like give you money. And he was like, oh, he was like, well, yes, ma'am. He was kind of mumbling. And I said, so what, how much is it? How much are your things? And he said, oh, they're $1. And I said, okay. I said, would you like for me to buy something? And he was like, well, do you want to? He had this really like bewildered look on his face. And I said, well, you're selling it. I said, you got to ask me. I said, you got to tell me what it is, and you got to ask me if I'm thirsty or if I'm hungry, and you got to tell me what the price is. And so, anyway, I'm always up for a good lesson, right? And so, a teachable moment. And so he did. He said, well, are you thirsty? And I said, well, no, not really. Well, I got some snacks. I said, you know what? I said, here's the thing. I said, I'm actually not hungry or thirsty, but but I wanted you to at least go through and ask me, because you don't know what people you don't know if I am hungry or thirsty, and you can't just look at me and ascertain. I didn't say ascertain, but and you can't look at me and make the determination, if I'm hungry or thirsty. And so I said, so bottom line is that you got to ask. And so he said, okay, so do you want anything? I said, no. I said, no, I don't. But here's $10. I had a 10. I said, so here's $10. He says, you don't want anything? I said, no, I don't want anything. I just want you to, I want to make sure that you're asking people. You're out here for a reason, to make money, to sell your stuff. I said, just make sure you're asking people. And he was like, oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He said, well, thank you. Thank you. And he walked off. And it's a sweet little kid. But so that was prime example in real life. Like literally it happened yesterday. But I've had conversations over the last several days, and one in particular that I'm going to share with you. And it was with a nurse, and she was saying how she's going to a lot of networking events, which is awesome. We love networking events, whether they're virtual or in person, because it is about expanding who you know, right? It is about developing these relationships. And here's the thing: the people that you meet at networking events may or may not be your ideal client, but guess what? They could also be a referral source for you. Okay, so we love networking. I know you've probably heard your network is your net worth, right? So you want to be building your network at all times. So bottom line is, I'm having a conversation with her. She's been going to a lot of different networking events, and she says, oh my gosh, I'm meeting so many incredible people, and I'm telling them what I'm doing, and they're so interested, they're so excited, and they want to like send me their lab so I can look at their lab. So many of you know the Prosperous practitioner program that I co-facilitate with Dr. Orlandis Wells. One of the main focus of that is really teaching you how to look at labs from a root cause lens, and help you give answers, or position you to be able to give answers to questions to questions that people have when they say, all my labs are normal. I've been going to doctors, I've been going to specialists. They say my labs are normal, but I still feel like crap. But I still have symptoms, right? And so the process practitioner program really helps to alleviate that, because it really equips you with, again, how to look at labs from an optimal range, not a standard range. You've probably experienced this yourself as a patient, or you've probably even looked at your patient's labs or your client's labs, and you're like, oh, well, everything looks normal. I don't know why your hair is falling out. I don't know why you're depressed. I don't know why you can't lose weight. I don't know why you have no energy. Everything looks fine. And it's because we've not been trained this, so it's not any fault to you. I didn't learn this in nursing school, right? So I learned this by, studying functional medicine and holistic health, right? And so bottom line is, she said, well, they're excited to send me their labs. And I said, great. I said, and what fee did you quote them? And she said, oh, I skipped that part. And now let me rewind the conversation a little bit, because she was like, oh my gosh, I haven't made any money I haven't made any money lately. Here's the thing, going back to the title of this podcast, and the original point of this podcast series today, of this podcast episode today, is you may not have a sales problem, but you likely do have a asking problem. Because just like the little boy that was in the parking lot, he let people walk past him. Like I said, a couple of two and a family of four, he was going to let me walk past him too. He didn't stop me. I actually stopped him. But it wasn't that he had a sales problem. He didn't have a problem selling. He had a problem asking. He wasn't asking. He wasn't telling people what all products he had, what he had to sell, and he didn't tell them what the pricing was. He didn't ask them if they even needed it. Same thing with this particular young lady nurse that I was in conversation with. It was not that she doesn't know how to sell. It's not that she doesn't. It's not that she has a selling problem. It's an asking problem. People can't give you money and say yes to working with you if you don't let them know that that's even an option. If you don't let them know what your fee is, what the investment for working with you is. They're just not going to just walk up to you like I did the kid and give them 10 bucks. They're not going to just volunteer that. So if you find, I have conversations day after day after day with nurses, nurse practitioners, PAs, physicians, even, where you have like an incomplete process, right? So you'll share with them, and you're super excited to share with them um, your knowledge, right? You're super excited to share with them that you can look at their labs. One of the services that you offer, so you can look at their labs and you can look at it from a root cause lens, and it really help to give them answers to why they're feeling the way they're feeling, and to why they're experiencing the symptoms, why they're symptomatic, right? Why they're experiencing the symptoms that they're experiencing that nobody else has been able to shed light on. So you're doing that part of it, and then you're stopping, and you're not continuing through the process. So it's like an incomplete process. You're not saying, and again, this is a service that I offer. It's normally 600, but I'll do it for 4 or whatever. You don't even have to say that part. You can just say, and this is what I charge for that service. All you do is sit in your labs. After you take care of the payment, the investment for that is 600, 500, 400. I don't pick a number. Pick a number. We encourage you in the Process Practitioner program to charge 5 to 600. I personally charge 555 for my root cause blood work analysis that I do with my clients. But pick 200. I don't care. Pick a number. Pick a number and know that what your number is going to be for that service, right? And share with them that number. Share with them the investment for the service, and ask them how they would like to pay for that. Would you like to do that on a card? What credit card would you like to use for that? Or what card would you like to use for that? Okay. So you share again, you probably nailed this part because you're excited to share like what you know and what you can offer. Finish the rest of the process with, and what I charge for that is, or the investment for that is, you can choose what language you want to use for that, and then share with them the price confidently. Not like, oh, it's $199. No, no, wimpy. No, no, no. It is what it is. You get to determine it, right? And then ask them if they want to move forward. Is this something you want to move forward with? Great. Let me just go ahead and I process cards right on the spot because everything has an app now, right? And so there you have it. That is the complete process. Now, if you find, again, you find yourself like I've nailed in the beginning, but that's where I stop. And I never mention the price. I never ask them if they want to work with me. I never ask them if they want to move forward. That's the missing piece. It's not a sales problem. It's an asking problem. You got to ask them, do you want to move forward? That's it. Not no, you don't have to make it weird, or just, would you like to move forward with that? Okay. After you've quoted your fee. All right. So if you find like, oh my gosh, yep, I now I see why I'm not making money, or I'm not making enough money, or I actually am seeing that I am not completing the entire process. If you're struggling with that, you guys reach out to me. This is something that we work with you on extensively inside of the Prosperous Practitioner program, because if you continue to do an incomplete process, right? If you continue to not share with them your service, the fee, and ask them if they want to move forward, you will struggle in your business. Period, point blank in the story. They're not going to just be like, well, hey, no, it doesn't work like that. You might get 1 out of 100 people that actually just say, oh my God, like, yeah, how do I pay you? How do I do that? 1 out of 100. So those other 99 people, it's not that they weren't interested. It's that you didn't ask. You didn't ask. You did not invite them to work with you. Okay. So it's not a sales problem. It's an asking problem, you guys. All right. So that wraps up today's episode of the Process Practitioner program. You guys start asking. Yes, people are going to say no. It's all good. You're not worried about that. Not a problem. But guess what? You can't even get to the people that say yes right? If you're not even asking the question, do you want to move forward? It's X amount. Would you like to move forward? That's it, plain and simple. Okay. All right, you guys. I love you so much. Thanks so much for tuning in for this episode. Definitely share it. Share it with another colleague that you know that this is a part that they struggle with. If they've been mentioning to you, like, "Ugh, I'm just, about to launch a new program, or I've been trying to enroll people into my program, but no one's saying yes." It could very well be part of your sales process. Maybe there is something broken. But I will say this, and we can help with that as well. But I will say this. If you're not even asking the question, would you like to move forward? The answer is already no. Okay. All right. And we don't want that to stop for your growth. We want you to be able to make the level of income that you're wanting to make, and as well as make the level of impact that you're wanting to make as well in people's health. Okay. So that being said, you guys, I love you to pieces. I love you to wholeness. By the way, I never say. I used to always say. We hear this all the time. I love you to pieces, but I was like, I don't want anybody to be in pieces. I want everyone to be whole. So I love you to wholeness is what I say all the time. I will see you next time here for the Charyse Williams Show for another episode of Empowered. Bye for now.